Hey, so let me just say straight off the bat that I don't think tender eyes is actually an idiom. And the reason I don't is because it doesn't really show up anyplace else. So, why am I including it? Well, I'm including it because there's a really, really cool, sweet, wonderful interpretation that I learned recently and I wanted to share with you all. And so, even though it's not probably technically an idiom, it is a phrase that we often hear different interpretations for that maybe don't actually capture what's really going on. So, a lot of times, so Rachel was beautiful, Leah had tender eyes, or sometimes you'll read it, Leah had weak eyes. So the question is, what's going on here? Well, as you know, Rachel and Leah are sisters, and they end up marrying Jacob, right? And then that's that whole other story with their family dynamics. Now, what you might not know is that, and this is according to Midrash that the rabbis tell. So apparently, there was a pre-arrangement for marriage between Esau, Jacob, that pair, and Rachel and Leah. Esau's the oldest, so he was destined to marry Leah. Jacob, the youngest, was destined to marry Rachel. So if you think about who Jacob was and you think about his reputation, okay, and he's going to marry Rachel, you think about what you know, what you've heard, what you've read about Esau, and think about him marrying Leah. So Esau's kind of a scoundrel, right? We know that. He's not interested in his birthright. He's not interested in the covenant with God. His reputation grows as he grows. Leah, it is said, as she grows up and understands and hears about the reputation of who Esau is, she gets really concerned. She does not want to have to marry somebody who is this scoundrel. So, as the Midrash goes, she begins to pray. And she continues to pray as she's growing up and getting closer to marriageable age. And it is said that the kind of prayer that she prayed to God was that really personal, heartfelt, crying out to him as her only source of salvation. And it said that her tender eyes or her weak eyes were because of this constant praying that she would do. Now, we don't know what she prayed for. We don't know if she prayed, "Oh Lord, help me to accept my lot in life," being his wife. We don't know if she prayed, "Oh Lord, change him into a righteous one," or if she just straight out prayed, "God, please don't let me marry him." The rabbis tend to think that that's what she was, and they have the reasons for that, but they tend to think that that's what she was praying. Please don't let me marry him. Please don't let me marry him. And she knew that without God intervening, there would be no way for her not to, because of the culture. And I just love that. I love that Rachel was beautiful. Leah had tender eyes. She would cry out to God. Her life was one of yes, struggle in this, but calling on God, crying out for him to rescue her. And as we know, in the end, she does not have to marry Esau. So I'm thinking that's why I wanted to include this as a lesson. I want us to think about how sweet it is to have these tender eyes, to have, you know, even in our darkest moments, even in those moments where we have feel so much despair and we know that there's nothing we can do to change the situation. May we cry out to God. May we use every fiber of our being as a woman, every part of our body as a woman, to cry out to God and ask Him to intervene in our situation, in our life in that way. And I don't know about you. I hate people seeing me cry. Like I'm what they call an ugly crier. And I don't like other people seeing me cry. But when it comes to me crying out to God, oh, yeah, let them see me cry, you know? Um, so that is, um, at least according to the rabbinic interpretation, what it means for Leah to have tender eyes. I'll see you in the next lesson.